An XSD is typically made up of elements, and those elements can contain sub-elements or they can contain attributes. And each of the elements can have types, whether those are built-in data types such as strings or integers, or they could be user-defined types such as simple types. For example, we have built types that were, for example, the state of an address, or we can make them more complex, such as the entire address itself. So what we want to take a look at now is just defining elements, and when we create elements, what does it actually create behind the scenes? So we can create a book element, and when we do, books have certain things about them like a title, and books have ISBN numbers, and they may even have some type of description as well. So we've created a very simple definition of what an XML document that describes a book should look like. Let's take a look then, as we right-click and select View XML Source, at what we've just done. We created an element called Book, and then we've added 3 sub-elements called Title, ISBN, and Description. Notice that we called them sub-elements, or children, of this main element called Book. Now, elements can also have attributes associated with them. So, for example, if we create an attribute, we can drag and drop a new attribute out here. And an attribute might be something like price, for example. And we'll make that of type currency or double. Let's see what we have access to here. Let's go ahead and make it of type double. So by itself, the attribute has no relationship to the book. If we look at the source, you'll notice that we just have an attribute that's hanging out here, but it's not associated with the book in any way. But what we can do is drag and drop this attribute in, and now it becomes an attribute of book. Price does. So let's now take a look at this in the XML source. We can see that this element called book has within it an attribute called price. Now, what does this mean from a practical standpoint? Well, what we can do is create an XML document and take a look at how our test schema can be used to create a real XML document. What we'll do is add new item. We'll select an XML file. We'll just call this test1. And what our objective here is to do is to basically add some data into an XML document that conforms to our schema. So we're going to select the schema that we created. There we go. And now we'll switch in the tab at the bottom to the data view, and notice that it shows us book. And so what we'll do is add in a price, $34.99, title, my latest work of art, and we'll type in some bogus ISBN number and some description. So I've created one item within our XML file. Now let's take a look at what happened here. The book conforms to the XML namespace testschema.xsd, which is what we created. Also off to the right-hand side, notice that the price attribute is placed not as a sub-element like the title, the ISBN, and the description are, but rather the attribute is indeed an attribute of this XML element called book. So what we've done was created the most basic XML and XSD that we possibly could have to illustrate the concept of elements and sub-elements and also attributes and how they relate to elements within an XML document. There will be additional videos that you should take a look at. For example, we just used very basic types such as strings and doubles. Those were native to the XML schema specification. However, what we're going to do in future videos is create simple and complex types and then use them within our test schema.xsd in order to give us some more flexibility with our XML documents. So I hope you